A data-driven investigation is just like any other investigation. You need to have good information, you need to check your sources, and you need to have a good story if you want to communicate it. So you need to have a human side, you need to have a clear story plot that evolves, that makes for a good reading. You cannot just display data and say, oh, I'm done. The difference with a traditional investigation is that the center of the work is going to be the database instead of, say, just a collection of written documents. But apart from that, the whole process is going to be very similar to a traditional investigation.
You say that in the panel, you say that the collaboration in the project is like between journalists and knowing overall media outlets. So, do you believe that project data investigations could be more effective when are out of the media outlet?
If you do an investigation within a media outlet, first of all, it's very difficult because very few media outlets have a full-time investigators on payroll, because it's very hard for a manager of a newsroom to say, okay, you have as much time as you want, and if you don't find anything, well, it's cool. So that's why you don't have many investigative teams. So that's one thing. That's why it's easier to do this outside of the newsroom with funding from foundations. The other issue is that most of the investigations we do at the European level are team-based and project-based. And this way of working is very different from what traditional journalists are used to. It's very hard for a traditional journalist to say, oh, I'm going to share not my sources, but my documents with others, or I'm going to anonymize my documents so I can share them, or I'm going to communicate securely over the internet so I can talk about my sources with other people in different countries. And all these things that are very technical are not really in the DNA of traditional newsrooms. So that's why for us it's way easier to organize outside of the traditional newsroom and to bring the newsroom at the last step of the process for the publication.
Great. This question is, what would be your advice to young journalists that are lack of effective engagement with data?
My advice for young journalists who want to start is very easy. It's start your own database. You were talking just right now about migrants' fatalities in South America. If there is no database on that, just start it yourself. You have a long list of issues where we need data, we don't have any. Look at police violence, for instance. We've been talking a lot about police violence in the US. There is nothing about police violence in Europe. So just start a database. Every time you read a news article about police violence, you just note it down in a spreadsheet, like the date, the location, number of people involved, the name of the people involved, and you can do that on any topic, really. And very quickly, like after 1 or 2 months, you will have a very good database that you can already start to use for articles, and then you can take it further as time goes by, and at one point you will have the best source of information on the topic you started to investigate on, and you don't need any specific tools to do that. You can just start right now.